Hi there, Cancer. Welcome to your July 2023 General Tarot reading. It's Raina here. Usually I do your sign, the sign that the sun is in the sign for most of the month. I do that first. I did Leo's first, and then I just kept doing these other signs. And I was like, okay, what sign should I do next? Oh my gosh, I haven't done Cancer. Whoa, this card wants to come out. Okay. Whatever this card is, I'm going to use. Pick an additional card. Well, this isn't like cheating at Monopoly or anything. Okay. Okay. There's a reason, because I don't want to end uncertain notes. That's all. Okay. That's acceptable. Okay. So, um, as I was picking cards, it was like, oh, okay, this is cool. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. And then I started to get some cards that seemed a little bit challenging, like the Five of Pentacles. I started getting like these cards. And you know what it reminds me of? The vibe is like worry. How one thing, it just mushrooms. And I really do believe a lot of Cancers are worry warts, so for what that's worth. Yeah, I have more than one card here that represents a decision that has to be made, a choice that has to be made. Now, sometimes this can be something that you don't even want to deal with. So it's not like, oh, good, I get to decide between these two desirable things. So we have to look at it from that lens. But let's just start at the beginning. So the heart of the matter is the Lover's card. Now, the Lover's card is connected to Gemini, so it could be somebody of that sign, but it's also obviously connected to love. But when we say a lover, sometimes that can mean an affair. I'm not saying that it does 100% of the time, but certainly I don't call my partner my lover. It just sounds like sex to me. Hot and heavy, not something that is romantic necessarily, even though the word love is in it. I've taken a lover. That was a cheesy term from the 70s, but that's because in the 70s, people were experimenting with, sexual relationships that didn't necessarily lead to committed relationships. The 70s were really the 60s embodied in the masses. And so free love of the 60s really wasn't a thing for most people. It wasn't mainstream yet. But anyway, I'm not talking about just sleeping around, but sometimes it might have been that before AIDS hit town and stuff like that. Okay, so the thing is that, like I said, it may be a difficult choice. So it may not be something that's like, okay, well, you just make a choice. In the past position, we have the Knight of Wands, which makes me think, and there's that horse in the background. This card is associated with Sagittarius, but I personally associate it with Aries, because I think knights are warriors and fire are wands. And that could be a person that you're with, and that person might even be younger than you are. Is this typical Cancer behavior? No. But the last few years, or you could even go back to when Pluto entered Capricorn, your opposite sign, and went into that seventh house, Cancer, that all bets were off in terms of your marriage or your committed partnership ever being the same again, went out the window. And sometimes because this Pluto just went back into Capricorn, it's going to go back once more in 2024. So if you have had some kind of marital blip here, like you had a little bit of you strayed a little bit, and because of marital woes, you're going to have another one of these in 2024. So you might choose a different way of handling your situation. But then it's going to just go complete into your 8th house after that. And I'm just talking about in a general way, not your own personal chart. So the Knight of Wands individual is very free, but there's a chaotic energy associated to him. So it could be something where it feels like exciting, but it feels like a little dangerous. But that just may make it more intense. So the higher message is the King of Pentacles. Boy, can you get any more grounded and together than this? Notice that I went from Knight to King. So King is the most mature version of any of the different suits. And it can really speak to like, hey, guess what? There's another way to live, and it is about being grounded. It is about being like in your relationships, not just this excitement of, will this person even show up, or can I get a hold of them, which can be kind of exciting, especially if a Cancer sun sign has Venus in Gemini. You may actually enjoy, or even in Aries, you may enjoy the thrill of the chase. I don't know if you can have Venus in Aries, come to think of it. I don't know. It might be too far away. But some configuration like that, where you just love the idea of kind of chasing after someone, and once you get them, it's kind of like, that is not typical Cancer behavior, but not all Cancers are created equally. I think if you've lost your head a bit, that it's kind of reminding you who you really are at the end of the day. But I don't feel like there's anything wrong, with experimenting, as long as you know exactly what you're getting into, and as long as you're not deceiving somebody else. If you're kind of having a double life, I don't think that's really a great thing, because I always believe that the other party deserves to know, have that option to leave if they want to, if somebody's cheating on them. But sometimes if there is abuse of any kind and the person feels like they can't leave that relationship, an affair can actually help them to see that there's other possibilities out there. So there are some exceptions to that rule, and it can be like a bridge to help you to leave. Okay. What crosses you is the Two of Pentacles, and this. Oh yeah, definitely. The issue of career matters. Maybe there are two types of service to others or work that you wish to do, but you are so undecided about it. Okay, and this is more creative and free, and this is more maybe predictably lucrative. and that sort of thing. But it might be that the Knight of Wands is going to end up being the King of Pentacles. So in other words, if you have this creative talent, creative idea, and you're just kind of like dismissing it because you have no guarantees what's going to happen, maybe it is going to become one day so lucrative that you will be like the boss of your finances. But you have to make that choice. And you may be so, yeah, because I have here, this is a card of poverty consciousness. Okay. Whether or not, regardless of the person's bank statement, it has nothing to do with that. So what's coming in? Queen of Swords, yet more decisions. And really this is about the Queen is the water element that you represent, putting that aside to be able to make the logical decision that the swords represent, the intellect. But what happens when we get afraid? Our emotions do take center stage. And also they have that thing called the reptilian brain, which I think is kind of like that we inherit as human beings, that is kind of fear-based. So maybe something along those lines. And then the outcome, this to me is kind of like a cautionary tale. If you just kind of if you just like kind of go along with the program, the Five of Pentacles can keep you paralyzed in that state of, I need to have security, because that's what Cancer represents. And Cancer is ruled by the moon, and the moon in astrology is about, what makes us feel safe. But, it's really like, I remember when, the last few years, people say, stay safe. Safe from what? That's part of that mind control. That's like, oh my God, this thing out there, it's really the fear of death. And people will do whatever it takes to cheat death as if they could. Instead of like realizing that, you take safety, you take refuge in the spiritual, not in the material. Because that's temporary. And there's really like the thing about safety, including a safety net, anything that has to do with, like money and all of those things. People who hoard, and that you can hoard money, and you cannot allow it to circulate because of that need for that safety net, or that. And really, that keeps you in a golden tomb. It keeps you might have enough materially, but you don't have that zest for living that the Knight of Wands has. Okay? So I feel like the Knight of Wands and the King of Pentacles are not like opposing forces. I feel like they're part of us. We have to have that juiciness in life. We have to have that passion, a passion project. But, we can also be abundant, which the King of Pentacles represents. It's not either or. So, additional card, more of the same. This Eight of Swords, I've been getting this a lot, and maybe this is because of Pluto going back into Capricorn, because Capricorn, this was part of it too. Okay. Yeah. Now let me bring that out. Okay. This card, the Devil, is connected to Capricorn. See that person? The puppet on the string. This is a card of excessive materialism, greed, which controls people, lust, all of those things that are part of the ways that people are controlled. And with the Eight of Swords, this programming can lead people to think that they have to have something in order to be okay. And if they don't have this thing, if they don't have this person, they're not going to be able to make it. So, yes, a relationship that is toxic, that is represented by the devil card. I got that card too in another reading, and I was mentioning the narcissist, because the narcissist needs to control somebody, keep them on a leash. And why do they do that? Because they don't feel powerful within themselves, and they're looking to control outside of themselves. This is also can be a boss, and that's the same thing. I think the majority of people who go into those kind of supervisory roles may do so because they don't feel powerful within themselves. That's not, maybe I shouldn't put it like that, because I'm sure there are people who are natural born leaders who are very good leaders. But you can feel trapped with the Eight of Pentacles. There's that sense of those old tapes which keep you tied up in knots. Who can untie those knots, Cancer? Only you. You're the only person that can do that. And you do that by questioning your beliefs, questioning those things that you think are true. Five of Pentacles. And some people, they grew up with money trauma. So I'm not saying that it has no basis in reality, but I have heard people say, I have no problems now. I mean, with money, but I grew up with a low income, and I'm always haunted by that. And I'm always afraid, no matter how much money I have, that I'm going to go back to that. So that is one of those belief systems that is likely I call it like a virus, this thing that got installed that doesn't belong there, that you need to remove. And so the card that I picked, that I was willing to leave with, is a card of walking away from what no longer serves you, what you do not feel is for you. You're not feeling it. And so even if something tries to tempt you, to lure you, to kind of bind you, you're not going to allow it. And I think it's because of this Pluto retrograde that you're going to look within yourself, and you're going to be able to see, Cancer, that it was always down to you, that you held the key to your liberation. All right, that's what I have for you. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, I have some package deals to check out that are specially priced. So 2 readings for a discounted price, as well as standalone readings. You can find out more information at RainaMoonAstrology.com. The link is below. Bye.